let's have a chat about Darwin Nunez. Now, I've just watched him play 90 minutes, let's say 89 minutes. I had to leave just before the end. I wasn't actually at the ground. I mean, I had to actually go downstairs to do something just before the end. So unless something fantastic and miraculous happened in the last minute of normal time plus injury time, then I think I can give a fair appraisal of him, at least for that 89 minutes, certainly. Why we want to talk about him? Well, we know West Ham are interested. This is not some newspaper tittle-tattle. We know there's an interest. We've let it be known. David Moyes has spoken about him. Benfica confirmed that we'd made a bid. The Uruguay manager, when he was away with Uruguay, said that he would allow him time during the January transfer window if he needed to conclude a deal to move clubs. We've since had Fabrizio Romano on the channel. If you remember, Gio spoke to him very recently, and Fabrizio confirmed that we had an interest in Darwin Nunez. We had bid about 45 million, as I seem to remember it, and that we retained an interest and we were going to be back in to bid in the summer. So we know this is our main target. This is our number one guy. David Moyes is number one guy. It used to be Joseph En-Nesyri, not so much anymore. I wonder if just because he saw him play against Sevilla. But no, this is the guy he wants. So I've only seen some highlights of some of the Portuguese games and a lot of YouTube footage, which is not always the best thing to go on. 90 minutes against Liverpool is a good barometer. See, the thing is, it really is for us who watch Premier League week in, week out, because we know these players. I know Virgil van Dijk. I've seen him play numerous times live. I've seen him play for Southampton against West Ham live a couple of times. So we know this player. We know all about him. And also, I think it's a good standard to get a barometer of how good players are, because I feel the Premier League is the pinnacle of the game at the moment. It hasn't always been thus. It's cyclical. I remember when it was Italy, obviously for quite a while it was La Liga that produced the excellent teams in European competition. Chelsea are obviously champions at the moment, and looking at the way Liverpool, particularly in the first half, were just basically swatted Benfica aside, you have to say that the English teams are the powerhouses in European football at the moment, although if Real Madrid probably sign Mbappe and Haaland, that may well change. And actually, having watched PSG play a couple of nights ago, then they'd probably have something to say about that. But by and large, as a league, some of the best teams in Europe play in the Premier League. So we get to look at this Nunez and see how good is he. I wasn't impressed, is what I can say, really. I mean, there's quite a lot to go on. Look, first of all, I was watching that game. I thought, well, if we're looking at a player from Benfica, if we've got money, and if we've got any more than just striker money, I understand that money is put aside for a striker. But if we're also looking at a left back, nothing wrong with Aaron Cresswell. My word, what a beautiful and perfect free kick the other day, by the way. But I think we can all agree we're in the market for a left back. Watching that Benfica team, I'd be more in for the left back than I would be for the striker. I will go on to explain why I didn't think the striker was... I don't think he lit the place up. And you've got to light the place up, by the way, because what we're talking about here is that 45 million ain't going to be enough. Apparently, we're going to have to spend 60 million on this player. Now, he's young. He's 22. He can improve. I don't want to spend £60 million on potential. I think there's some clubs that can. There really are. There are some super clubs who can spend £60 million on potential. West Ham needs, if we've got £60 million to spend, if we break our transfer record, which is more than the 45 million or whatever Sebastian Haller cost, then we need excellence. We need the finished article. I really believe that. We don't want to be nursing someone through and having someone learning their trade. Ironically enough, there were times during that game against Liverpool where I looked at Nunez and thought, actually reminded me a little bit of Sebastian Haller. He's not a bad player, by the way. And if you haven't seen the game, you're going to look at the stats and you're going to say, well, hold on, mate, he scored a goal. He did. But if you watch that goal back, in the build-up to the goal, because I was watching him, that's my only reason for watching the game, he just took up the wrong position. He was the wrong side of the defender. Now, you're not going to be able to convince me that he knew the defender, who was Canate, was going to make a mistake and let the ball slip under his foot. He couldn't have done. He ran the wrong way. He was basically the wrong side of him. the natural movement of a striker should have been in front of him. See that ball coming across. Anyway, he finished it smartly enough. He really did. And I'm not saying he's a useless player. Far from it. But he didn't seem to put himself about as much as I would have liked. Now, the funny thing is, the Uruguayans are famed for it. I mean, they really are for being, gritty, no-nonsense players. Look at Luis Suarez. Look at Cavani. They take no prisoners. They really don't. I just didn't feel he had that much fight or battle in him. I felt there was an awful lot of jogging. I looked at him on a number of occasions and thought, where's the urgency? Where is your urgency here? When I thought he really should be busting a gut. Now, compare that to Diaz. Now, you remember Diaz, who played for Liverpool. Now, Diaz signed for, I'm going to get it wrong, I might have been Sporting Lisbon, might have been Porto. I've got a feeling Sporting Lisbon, might be wrong, doesn't matter, right? Diaz signed from another Portuguese club, signed for Liverpool. Now, David Moyes leaked the information that West Ham were interested in Diaz. Now, obviously, once Liverpool become interested, we're not going to stand a chance. And apparently, Spurs have done all the running. But the fact that he let it be known that we'd looked at him, okay, that's good, that's great. But looking at somebody who has come from the Portuguese league, who was South American, Colombian, I think Diaz, who's come from South America, gone to Portugal, and then come to England, and then another guy in Darwin Nunez, who is looking to basically follow the same path. I thought there's no competition. Now, I know they're different players. One of them is a big target man, and one of them's a sort of zippy, buzzy sort of player. But you remember when Diaz played against us, it's relentless. It felt like we were playing a one-man team on occasion when we played Liverpool. In this game, he was so much better. Obviously got the third goal and had set up Mane's goal, didn't he, as well? Really, really well. And I don't think he cost as much. I might have this wrong, but I have a feeling that Diaz signed for Liverpool and money was in the high 30s, 38 million, something like that. And is Nunez any better than him? No, well, he's not as good as him. It is plain and simple. As I say, I know you're dealing with a 22-year-old, and there was a point where the commentator was saying, we can improve at this, they can improve at this. For all the reasons I said afterwards, I don't want somebody to improve at this. This is not the thing, because as it stands, from what I saw then, and I understand I am going on 90 minutes, but that's all I've got to go on. I'm not even suggesting I've seen him play all season. I know he scored loads of goals in the Portuguese league, but as I said earlier, the Portuguese league is not the pinnacle. Okay, you're not coming up against the best defenders all the time. The best teams at the moment are in England. I've just seen him play against the best teams. I've just seen him play. Look, either Liverpool or Man City are the best team in England. One of them are. We'll find out at the end of the season who it is. There ain't much between them. I've seen him up against two centre-backs I know are pretty damn good. I thought he was completely dominated. He's a big guy, and I thought Virgil van Dijk dominated him in the air. Now, I've seen West Ham play against Virgil van Dijk lots of times, and Virgil van Dijk doesn't always dominate West Ham players. I've seen him on some games. I've seen him get the better of Antonio. Other games, I've seen Antonio get the better of him. I've seen on set plays him be dominant from set plays. But I've also seen Souček out-jump him. I've seen Dawson out-jump him, and so on and so forth. But I think on this occasion, I just think he completely dominated Darwin Nunez. And I was really looking for this way that West Ham play. And when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay. Now, Mikel Antonio did an interview the other day. And he was walking around the pitch with somebody, walking around the West Ham training ground. And an interviewer, she was interviewing him, and he said many things. One of the things he said was that David Moyes has a go at him quite a lot. He can hear David Moyes shouting at him. And she said to him, what does he shout at you about? And he said, basically, hold the ball up. Hold the ball up. The ball's got to stick to you. Basically, I have to kill some time so the team can get up the pitch. I'm not giving you any new information there. You know this. I know this. This is how West Ham play. But you've got to be strong. You've got to hang on to the ball, and you've got to let the other players get and join the attack. I saw Precious Little in that. I saw him try a few times. I saw him fail as much as he succeeded. they mentioned him being a good athlete as well and him being a good size. Well, he is a good size, but it's not much use if you can't out-jump somebody. I mean, funny enough, Liverpool played. Jota's about that big. He's not a good size, is he? Let's be fair, for winning headers, but he scores plenty of goals with his head. I just wasn't that impressed with it. And the others, and that's the hold-up play as well. The other thing that I found myself looking at as well was when Benfica, who I did think was quite impressive, they had the guy Rafa to the right of him, I thought was a good player. But then I thought about how West Ham counter-attack. And a lot of times, West Ham don't have outright pace on the flanks. But we're a counter-attacking team. So, whilst I didn't disagree with Antonio's description of how he played, he doesn't always play like that. Sometimes Antonio is the outball. He is the pace in our counter-attack. And one thing I did think about this Nunez was that actually he's not quick enough. For all him being considered to be a good size and being an athlete, well, number one, he didn't quite look quick enough. But two, he didn't look dominant enough in the air. Number three, he didn't look strong enough. So that's just what I thought. Now, granted, not everybody is going to get the better of Virgil van Dijk. But, as I alluded to before, he's a player that we know. Well, what I did think is when we're counter-attacking, if we were to get Nunez, we wouldn't have to change how we played as drastically as David Moyes would have had to have done with Sebastian Haller, which he didn't do and which he wasn't prepared to do, which is the reason why we sold him. But you would need a tweak because you wouldn't have the outright pace from the centre forward, which would mean, I'll give you an example, you're just not going to get away with, for instance, Bowen and Benrahma as your two wide players. You're going to need a rapid one in there. Look, Bowen is okay, he's not slow, but he wouldn't be in the top 50 quickest players in the Premier League, Bowen. I think it's fair to say that. Again, Benrahma's tricky, but he's not lightning fast. Now, if you're going to take that away, if you're playing Nunez, I guess you could play Antonio on the wing or something like that, which would probably be the way to go. If not, we'd have to bring in a faster wide player as well. Clearly, it ain't going to be Bowen because Bowen is always going to play, and rightly so he should. But I do think it changes the dynamic of the team slightly, and I've thought we needed a left winger for some time anyway. I'd like to, what I would normally say after watching this game, I'd probably normally say something like, I've had a look at him. I don't think David Moyes would be particularly interested in him. The one final thing I probably should say about what I noticed about him, I say what I noticed, what the commentator certainly noticed, and you watched the game, you'd have noticed as well. He was a bit divey. Let's be honest, he went to the ground looking to get something on two occasions. Now, you've only got to look at how Antonio played against Everton. Antonio has sometimes gone down, does sometimes go down looking for something, but he does it when he's wrestled to the ground, when the guy's got his arm round him and when he's pulling him down. This guy was barely touched and he crumpled to the ground. And it would be one of the first things David Moyes would have to do. And which would basically be to appeal to his warrior spirit in essence and say, come on, mate, you can't do that. You've got to battle. There didn't seem to be any battle in him. Oh, crikey, sounds like a damning assessment of him. I'm sure he's better than what I saw there, actually. But again, it's another thing. Have you really got to instill that in someone? See, that is something that I assume is already part of the David Moyes MOT. That's, I assume, is something that we already look for in players. That's, you don't have to teach Craig Dawson to battle, do you? Let's be perfectly honest. You don't have to teach Zuma to battle. You don't have to teach Antonio to go for it. You don't have to teach Souček to do that. Crikey, Soufal, he can't stop scrapping, can he? There didn't seem to be much scrap in this lad. So I don't know if that's something they want to then coach into him. But I sort of looked at him and thought, well, you probably need him to scrap a bit more. You need to strengthen him up a bit. You're going to need to teach him to contest headers a little bit more. You're going to try and make him a little bit quicker, improve his... There's a lot of stuff for the coaches to do. 25 million? Okay, fine. 30 million? Probably okay. Let's go and have a... Particularly when you look at some of the prices of some of these championship players. But 60 million? And you've got to go and work on all this other stuff? I don't know. Look, I'm quite prepared for me to be totally wrong, and I totally understand. I've only watched, before anyone says it, I've only watched 90 minutes. I don't pretend to have an encyclopedic knowledge of the player or of Benfica or anything else for that matter. As I say, it was the left back I looked at and thought, oh, hello. he's a good one. Look, it was just interesting. Maybe we'll see better games. I'm quite sure he'll go back to the Portuguese league and score some more goals. Don't doubt that. Don't doubt that at all. But as a player ready for the Premier League, I thought no. But more importantly, as a player ready now, and he is 22. I think I've said that enough times. As a player ready now for West Ham in the Premier League, the way David Moyes likes to set up and the way West Ham play, I've got to say I wasn't impressed.